Good morning, Tracy. Welcome again with our new show, meeting the
Yes,
candidates
straight
from a
talk.
Tracy
Yeah.
City Council race 2020. Straight talk with the candidates for Tracy race. Um, we have total nine candidates. Sorry, I was wrong yesterday again. It was nine candidates total in the race, and we are being second candidate on our show today, Mr. Cliff Hudson, who is from the Tracy Planning Commission, currently serving. So I would like Gurtej to hear more about Cliff, so our audience can know a little bit more about the candidate, and then we can
Thank
move
you very
on from
much,
there.
Raj. And I want to welcome Cliff. Thank you very much for sparing time and sharing your thoughts, ready to share your thoughts with the audience. So Cliff is very known to the community. He don't need any introduction, but I'll briefly introduce Cliff. So Cliff is an Army officer with 13 years of proven leadership record in the Army as an Army officer. Then for past 25 years, he is in our city. He worked with leadership companies in Silicon Valley. So now he started his own business, which he's running as a fresh coat paint. So in multi cities. So he's a proven leader. So let's hear more from Cliff.
Thank you, Gurtej and Raj. I'm glad to be here this morning and to talk to the Tracy community about my thoughts and who I am and perhaps why you should vote for me. I decided to get into this race and get off the sidelines and be a candidate for your Tracy City Council after doing the things that I have done in the city of Tracy and watching how the political landscape has been. I believe that this is a great city. This city has a great opportunity to do a lot of things, but we also really have to get down and bring the city together. I believe this city will be much better as a cohesive unit rather than the potential fighting that seems to go on within the council now. My experience and my background, I have a degree in political science, pre-law. I have an MBA from the University of Phoenix. As Gurtej had said earlier, I'm an ex-captain in the United States Army with 6 years active duty and 7 years reserve. I have been on various commissions and boards here in the city of Tracy. I've been on I'm also the vice chair of the Planning Commission. I have been on the board for the Grand Foundation, the board for Sow Seed. That's just to name a few. And we started Fresh Coat franchise in 2008 after working as in the Silicon Valley for over 30 years. I worked for companies of Intel, Advanced Micro Devices, and Linear Technology at the director level with worldwide responsibility. So my leadership ability and my leadership experience that's all I've done in my career. I like to think more big picture than small picture. And I have spent many, many times and many, many hours listening to opposing sides, opposing views, bringing them together for the greater good of whatever the organization is. And as chairman of the board of the Chamber of Commerce, that when you have 19 people, which are business owners, all with leadership skills, all with very strong, perhaps A-type personalities, bringing those people together for the common goal is a challenge, but can be done. And that's what really needs to happen on the city council, because we also need to listen to not only what this council members have to say, but also what the citizens of the community, and we need to lead them there.
Thank you very much, Cliff. Thank you very much for sharing your leadership expertise, your experience with the silicon companies, with the Army. that's why I know you as a leader. You are leading the planning commission as a vice chair. So the feedback you provide to the new mentors, or the mentorship you provide, and how you listen to the audience as well as listen to the fellow members, that's always commendable. So that comes from your long expertise that you have. So now so Raj, share please. Yeah.
So no, that's wonderful to know about all the credentials that Cliff, that you holding your Army background and serving that. That's a very disciplined lifestyle that you've been through, and on top of that, you work in the very big corporations, leading the leadership role as a director level, and all those skill sets together, I think are the basic fundamentals that any person running for a public office requires, and they should have them. And it seems like you're well versed in all those, and I it's wonderful, right? So now moving into our next step for the conversation, if you will be elected as a Tracy council member, what would be your vision for the Tracy? Like what kind of direction we would be seeing for Tracy that you will be focusing on?
Well, there are three things that I see are, ultimately important to the city of Tracy. And the first thing is part of what I talked about earlier is the bringing the council together, providing leadership to direct us to focus on the business at hand. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of issues that are out there that the council members really need to be making sure they're focusing on those issues more so than the, I call them distractions. There are things such as, legacy fields that need to be dealt with. There are things that are, such as the swimming pool that need to be understood. How much is it going to cost? Once we have the cost down as far as what the what it's going to cost, how we're going to maintain it. The citizens need to understand all those financial aspects. We as a council need to understand all those financial aspects before we move forward. As a contractor, I have gone to different cities, and as I've gone to different cities and worked with different general contractors, people find out that I work and I'm here in the city of Tracy. They consistently ask me the question, what's wrong with the politics in the city of Tracy? I want to change that. I want to make sure that when I'm dealing with general contractors, they want to come to the city of Tracy and they want to work with the city of Tracy. I want to make sure businesses understand that they want to come to the city of Tracy. That Tracy is a welcoming community, that even though we may disagree, but we're not going to be disagreeable. And those are two significantly different things. So based on, as I understand it, and I know that Tracy has just passed a code of conduct and code of ethics. I'm going to make sure that we up there on the dioceses are adhering to those codes of conduct and those ethics. And we also make sure that the citizens, when they come into the chambers, they also apply to that. And we continue to move forward. The second thing is I want smart growth. Smart growth is not just a buzzword, but when we talk about things like the TOD that they're talking about and Valley Link, which our current council members have worked really, really hard for, and those are some very impressive long-term goals and projects. Those are the kind of things that when we talk about that we want growth in the city of Tracy, we want jobs in the city of Tracy, we have to get behind those things and realize those are long-term projects. Those projects aren't going to happen and be on board next week, next month, or next year. Those are going to be 3, 4, 5 year down the road projects, and we want to make sure that people and things just aren't chipping away at them at one issue here and one issue there. We got to make sure that we are sitting back, looking at the overall goal, the overall goal of improving Tracy. Those are going to be some of the things that we're going to have when we want our children to come and our children to stay. They need to have opportunities of growth. They need to have opportunities of employment. And those are the type of projects that need to happen. And third is affordable housing. Affordable housing is not a bad word, okay? And we got to get away from, in my mind, not my neighborhood. You know, we don't want this, we don't want that. We need to sit down and get with, you know, city staff and really figure out how we would want to do this. Affordable housing, or the housing industry, or the housing shortage throughout the country. This is not just a Tracy problem. This is an American problem. And home ownership is the American dream. And we need to work on trying to provide that for the city of Tracy and understand what we need to grow. You know, there's a big gap, and it's called the middle housing. And those type of homes are the stepping stone for ultimate home ownership. It's the mid-level for working class families that are just starting out, where they can live in a nice, clean area as they are preparing for the next step of true home ownership. We need to focus on that, and we need to fix that problem. And again, these are not going to be short-term problems. These are long-term problems. But these are the things when our children go to college, and when they want to come back, when we want them to come back because we need their brain trust, they need to know that they can come here in the city of Tracy and have affordable homes. They can have a nice house, and or a nice house or a nice apartment, and it can be a stepping stone to where they want. You know, that just has to happen. And those are just the top three things that I definitely will be focusing my attention on.
That's wonderful to hear, Cliff. Just to kind of get a little bit more clarification on the last piece that I think you brought a really great point, that we want the young generation that's out of the town studying and working, having a job, and they want to buy a house here. Do you think we need a little bit something more than that to keep them in our town, or just the affordable houses would be enough for them?
Well, when we're talking about things like the TOD and the TOD in the bow tie area, and it's going to bring homes, it's going to bring jobs, it's going to bring opportunity. Okay. So when we're talking about bringing our children back, and when we're starting to build those things, there should be opportunities for them to develop, and these should be higher paying jobs, not just your average, entry level jobs. If we do it right, if we think about in what we're trying to bring to that area. So you are correct in asking, no, housing is just one part of it. There's multiple parts, multiple phases, which is when we're talking about smart growth and affordable housing, we're talking about all those things. And if you understand, or at least follow the way where I was talking, they all feed on each other. Okay. The affordable housing, the smart growth, the getting council together where we are focused, and we're focused on the job at hand. We're not focused on whether or not we're trying to defend ourselves from outside attacks. That needs to stop. That is an issue that is going on in American politics, but we need to make sure that City of Tracy, that goes away, and we are a harmonious community. I believe that and I just want to add one more thing. When we first started and got into the, I would say, politics and started our business, started working with the Chamber of Commerce, we used to interact in the city of Tracy, and it was like wonderful. You know, all the people that we met were great. There was great interaction. There was great teamwork. Businesses were working together. In the last 4 to 6 years, that has changed in the city of Tracy. There's much more divisiveness. That needs to go away. We need to go back to our city that we all loved and we all talk about that this is the community where we want to be. And the amount of effort and time that we put into making this a harmonious city, that's where it needs to go. This stuff needs to go away.
Thank you.
No, very well said. Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Cliff. So our audience, the city, they understand this. This is the core issue that we all are facing. This city has an open heart. The leadership has to show that open heart to everybody. Yeah, I still remember the first day I met you at the meeting. You only gave me one tip that is with me now, and it will be with me for the rest of my life too. Just come to the meetings with an open mind. We will have disagreements, we will have discussions, we will have debates, but when you are at the end of the meeting, just listen to everybody. Your opinions can change and should change on the basis of information that you are getting. Because I'll be reading something, you'll be reading something, but interpretation of that information can be different.
Yes.
A healthy discussion should be there, but there should not be any biases or pre-made opinions that would hinder our leadership from making a collective decision. And I would, that's another point that you mentioned. You were a general contractor, and now you want to come on the other side of the fence. So in my career, so I have seen, if you have seen the issues from the other end, when you come to the other side, the improvements are tremendous. And one can, with their leadership skills, with their positive attitude, they can make tremendous changes. And for the smart city, you were in the Silicon Valley for 30 years, with all the leadership role, all those companies. So I would just request you to please elaborate a little bit more on the smart city concept. So what that concept would be, how you see this city. Yeah, because this city, I was reading, so in 19th century, it was built on railroads. So it flourished. It is one of the best cities now. Also, when we go to the city hall, we see all those things. They are our building stones for the city. So how your vision, or what your thoughts are, how you will take the city to the smart city?
Well, what I mean by the smart city is the TOD, and I'm also piggybacking off of one of the council members that is currently on the council, and that means like a walkable city. Where the TOD is, as they build there, it's in an area where you can bike to transportation hubs, you can walk to transportation hubs, you can walk to all the amenities of downtown. As you mentioned earlier, well, the city was built on railroads, and a lot of American cities were built on driving cars. Well, now the concept is, getting people out of their cars, and I'm quite sure the people who like to commute over to the Silicon Valley every day would love to get out of their cars, but also providing more public transportation and having that be the centerpiece of our city. So that you could come to our city and everything is accessible by bicycle, by walking, by hiking, and it's smart. Everything is a piece together that is working upon itself, not a piece here and a piece there, and they're 2-3 miles apart, or 4 or 5 miles apart, or on the other side of the city. When we're planning the city, we need to look at the borders of the city, where we want to put things, and how we really want it to interact with each other, how it works, how it grows, how citizens can take advantage of all the things in the city with minimal effort and get them out of their cars, so to speak.
I think that's a wonderful approach, and a lot of thoughts and a lot of strategic planning, I think, that needs to go into as this town is growing happily big. A lot of people are moving in, a lot of houses are being developed, and I think, yeah, that those are the things that in order to kind of keep people off from the road, we need to invest into and put our minds towards that.
Well, as we continue to move forward, and person put something in my ear yesterday, about the internet and making sure that the internet is functional, because as we have dealt with COVID right now, I'm currently doing 3 projects in San Jose right now. And I commuted from Tracy to San Jose for 19 years. The most significant thing I can think about the projects I'm doing over there is that I can get there in 45 minutes, which means that there are a lot of people that are not on the road, which means they are at home. So with them being at home, that means that they are on the internet doing their business at home. Not only that, you're adding the schools that are doing distance learning. So there is a major, major drain on our entire network system, so to speak. Have we looked at that? Do we understand where we're going to be 5 and 10, 15 years from now? How, as I understand it, more and more companies are going to allow their workers to telecommute. And I'm hearing things. I talked to my daughter last week, who lives in Maryland, who works for the Navy, and one of her coworkers is telecommuting. They moved to Texas. So they are telecommuting from Texas to Maryland. Okay. So we have to look at that. Is something that is going to happen. So we have to look and make sure, when we're talking about, we have to make sure the roads are working. Well, the road to work may be on your internet. So we have to make sure that that road is well prepared to handle the traffic moving forward.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you said it. You said a very, very great line that maybe the road to your work, it's through internet. I think that is the next thing that we need to look into it, as we're dealing with COVID, and COVID is teaching us a lot of different things, how to live normal, and this is the new normal. Kids are studying from home, remote. Myself, like with age, we both are working remote. We don't have to go in this pandemic in order to keep the spread, prevent from happening that. So 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that is something new going to be happening, where mostly companies would be allowing you to work from home. So have your quality life with your family, instead of you spending 3 hours on the road, an hour and a half going to the work, and an hour coming back from work. And that is something I think should be incorporated into the smart city idea. We're looking at both aspects together.
It's going to be the new normal. Yeah. And those are the things that your 2020, 2021 city council members, those are the type of things that they need to be thinking about.
Correct. Right.
Tracy is sitting on the outskirts of the Silicon Valley. It is the first town over the hill. We need to think about where we're going to be. And when we're really talking about, we want jobs, better paying jobs, the question is, what kind of jobs? And the best way to do that is going to make sure that we have the technology here, in the hub of what we're doing in the city of Tracy, to be moving forward.
That is very true. And just to kind of general question to know, just out of a curiosity, I see there are tech companies just right over the Ultimate Pass in Pleasant and Dublin area, where we changed from 680 to 580. What are the incentives those cities are giving that Tracy can't provide? Maybe we need to look into that. We need to learn from them. How did they attract those companies to open up their offices there?
Well, I was in the Silicon Valley for over 30 years. And I was there when, and again, I work for Intel, AMD, and Linear Technology. Those are semiconductor companies. And at one point in the mid 80s, early 80s, they understood that the housing prices were skyrocketing. And what is the number one asset what is the number one cost that these companies have? That's labor. Okay.
Right.
They wanted to make sure that they could provide their employees a livable wage, plus also a higher quality of life. That's when they began to move to different cities or in different towns, to Austin, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Burlington, Massachusetts, Colorado, because they could get lower housing prices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which meant that they could lower the wages for some of their employees, but their employees, their costs, their quality of living did not decrease. Okay, that's one of the main reasons why. And I was part of the exodus from AMD going to Texas. Okay, that's exactly why they did it. It was a housing price issue, and that's why they did it. That's why Linear Technology built its next factory up in Camas, Washington, just outside of Portland, because housing prices were significantly different. Because what it takes to build the organization was a large amount of money, but they could, not pay their employees peanuts. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying that they could control their employee salaries, which gave them better planning options in the future.
Yeah, no, with my experience with the Silicon Valley companies too, I second Cliff. Yeah, if you have a smart city or the city that has all the connectivities, employees or the workforce will move. If the workforce will move, companies will follow them. There's no other way incentivizing companies, that is one part. But if they'll see, okay, that's the areas that Cliff mentioned, he saw the companies moving to different states. Companies always want to go to the places where their employees have a good standard of living, and that is not that expensive. They are happy, they get the good workforce. That's the key part. Yeah, you shared for your daughter. Yeah, the internet, that is the key part. So that's what even the defense companies, all the organizations, they're doing. Now the big aspect is the security.
Yes.
So security is the big aspect while we are working remotely. So that will need the bandwidth.
Yes.
These companies has to be approached, even AT&T, Verizon, or whichever are the service provider, they have to be approached. Yes, we are going into a different era. They always have their own thoughts. They always have their own incentives going to the bigger cities. But yeah, they have to be held accountable. If you are in our city, yeah, please provide additional resources.
And you couple that with the downtown area and what we are potentially planning for the TOD, which you now have a vibrant downtown, which means you now have a more vibrant, younger community that is commuting from work, and they also have a place where they can go meet and greet and interact with other people of their age and their peers. And that was very, very important. And that was very important in the development, in the growing of the Silicon Valley years and years ago.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you very much, Cliff. So there, yeah, our audience is listening. There will be lots of questions, but the points that you were on as a contractor, you saw this, you were on multiple boards, you are an ex-army officer, so you have seen what's happening and what the key points, what our citizens as well as the city is facing. You want to bring a positive change. So for all those questions, follow-up questions, I would request our audience, they can feel free to message us on our website, yeah, or our page. We'll forward those questions to Cliff for more clarification, or you're more than welcome to reach out to Cliff or reach out to Cliff's own pages and ask questions and get clarified. So that's the main key. Make an informed decision. Don't go with a closed mind. Listen to all the candidates. That's the main role. That's what I learned from Cliff. The one thing he told me when he met him the first time. Yeah, always go with the open mind. With whatever information you have, listen to everybody, then make an informed decision.
You can always reach me at hudsonfortracy@gmail.com, and I will respond back to you.
We will add that your email address after we're done with the video on our page, so everybody would have that readily available for them to reach out to you. Thank you, Cliff, for your time, for your energy, and sharing your vision for Tracy. And we'll look forward to meet you in person sometime soon once COVID is over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Gatish. This has been a great opportunity, and I have seen other candidates, and this is great. This is great. You guys have thought outside the box, and I want to commend you on that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claire. Yeah, thank you. Much appreciated. Have a good day.
Good day.
Bye.